Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where we continue onwards, of course, with our testimony of Emma Skye, and what she'll never forget that she saw in that instant on the final day of trial. Let's get going. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall just jumped on dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. I think we should hear more then, obviously, rather than stop. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago. Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Ask about the picture or stop? Well, ask indeed. This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. Objection! But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. I think we know where that is. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken. But I did draw it, I swear! I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man. I don't know about the man. The man raised up his knife and then stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest, but yes, this is what we're interested in. I should be on the back here. Objection! Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed. 2 men appear to be wrestling here. Objection! What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here, where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order! Order! But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor.
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's possible. How come you've never turned it round? Let's see. So, you're telling me in all your time of having that list, it's never mysteriously flopped over, or you never picked it up and went, oh, so what's this on the back? Yeah. Come on.
Is something wrong?
Did you even have to ask?
How could I never turn over a piece of paper?
Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing!
That's that thing! That thing that was dancing in the evidence room.
Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. But it seems like Emma had something to say there, but the evidence list is restored and updated in the court record. Can we check it some more? No.
Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Well, before we do that, I want to see the completed list. Well, isn't that interesting? Especially when you consider that's a sideways perspective. I can't actually check what evidence there was, mind you. Huh? Indeed. Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. So, tell us about your picture. What you drew that day. This is a picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
No help from Edgeworth this time then, as we get to work. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. We don't doubt that. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye.
2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. Interesting. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry.
Objection!
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint.
you really need to torture this girl any further?
What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. But it's got more to it.
Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw?
Of course, this is the exact scene.
It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives?
Objection!
Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright?
No, of course not.
I'd better watch out, or he might find some way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives. So I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh?
Oh, well, it is. Obviously, the other page. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here.
Clearly a contradiction.
Possibly, I mean, it's a lot of silence while I think there. I think this is it. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. But to be honest, in always the pose I've seen it, would most likely be stabbed in the neck or the head rather than straight the back. Otherwise, it's this itself, because obviously she thought more of the scene. I think we might get a strike here, but I'm going to go with the first gut instinct first. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. That sounds like I've got it wrong. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Oh, we're not actually doing so bad then. I just think it's the position of the person. Or possibly, I mean, it looks like it's a blunt knife on the picture itself, and we know we've got many broken tip knives going on. But I thought it'd be the position of the... Because also we know the fact that the detective was on top of the passed out victim in the end? I don't know.
Take that!
I'm not sure myself at this point. I think it's this part here.
No, I don't see what's so strange about that. That's because the drawing stinks.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Wright, how could you...
The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty.
I guess he means I shouldn't shift the blame to others.
Yes, well, so long as the defense has learned his lesson.
I better take another look at that autopsy report in this picture. So I'm on the right lines? Mr. Wright, perhaps it'd be faster if you... Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh no! You made me go to something else again. So is it the murder weapon? I just reckon it's the position of the people. But it's what's above that's interesting me.
Take that!
It's got to be the weapon then. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. To be honest, I don't know if you guys would have went along the same line as I could see the tip was broken or blunt there, but that might just be a crude drawing. Like the rest of the drawing is a crude drawing. We have no hands in terms of fingers or anything. They just look like they're wearing boxing gloves. Stuff like that. But the positioning of the guy being stabbed in the back... Why would you stab the back? You stab the neck. I don't know. But you can look closely. You can see his tip is broken.
Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
so that would be an after, not a before. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken.
Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Objection!
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there.
That's right, but what does this mean?
Objection!
The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
Objection!
That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at that time. She was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Objection!
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence?
You're treading on thin ice, Wright.
All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No.
Ah! Order! 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 Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife.
What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife, and I am certain of that too.
I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon.
Take that!
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here, inside this picture. Look at me with the definitives. This is a picture of the awards ceremony.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award.
Order! Order! Order!
Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
Objection!
But that
That can't be.
Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth?
Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed.
What do you mean?
I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Well, it may have been, or, to be honest, wasn't there a possibility that it could have been anyone, based on the fact they didn't see much apart from silhouettes? Oh.
Oh, indeed. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died.
That's true. What's going on here? What's going on indeed, guys, as you know what's coming next. We continue on with his testimony and this line of thought. After getting a strike this episode, boo-hoo! We continue on with more Phoenix Wright. Getting to the bottom of this case. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.